Now, at this point, everybody at the party laughed. Everybody except for myself and Waylon. The other three guys at the party thought that was hilarious. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't directed at me in this particular situation, I probably would have thought it was hilarious too. I probably would have been ha-ha-haing along with the rest of them. But the reason that the rest of them were laughing and I wasn't was because I was looking right into Waylon's eyes when he said this. And he was giving me a look that I can't reproduce for you because I don't think I've ever had the occasion to ever give a person this look in my entire life, nor would I know how to if I wanted to. It was a look I can only describe as the I'm going to pull my penis out and stick it in your unwilling asshole look. It was the most frightening look anybody I think has ever given me. It was. And this is, like I said, a poor reproduction, because I don't even know how to act this. But he was like, fuck you up your ass. How's that? I'm going to fuck you. And so I'm like, and everybody's laughing. It was at this point that Waylon did something that most people have seen in movies, or maybe you've experienced it firsthand. When a person stands up with such force and purpose that their chair goes flying behind them. And Waylon did this. He stood up so fucking violently that his chair fell over behind him. And he starts coming for me. And it's at this moment that my fight or flight instinct kicks in. And anybody that knows me well will tell you that 9 times out of 10, in a fight or flight situation, it's flight for me. I'm going to flee. I'm not a fighter. I'm not a violent person. I suppose if somebody was beating the shit out of my mom, I'd have no choice. But when it comes to, like, preserving myself, I've never been like a karate kid, like, come on, you know what I mean? Let me do the crane. No, I'm gone. I'm also not a runner. You could probably tell by looking at me that running is not my forte. But a few things played into this. Like I said, John had a really big backyard, and I've described this backyard before in one of my videos, in a video called Tell Me a Story I Couldn't Possibly Believe, I believe. And I've described this backyard. It's the same backyard, but I'll describe it again for those of you that haven't seen that or don't remember. It was a long, wide, sloped backyard with a pretty steep slope to it, and it was big. I mean, it went on. It wasn't just a little hill, a little dip or something. It was a long, steady, pretty decent grade of slope. And down at the very bottom, way kind of far away, was a pond. And the only direction that I could possibly book in that instant of fight or flight was down that fucking slope. It was the only way that I could go that Waylon wasn't going to get his hands on me. So I take off. Now, like I said, I'm not a runner, but the combination of the adrenaline, that fight or flight instinct that I was talking about, and that slope meant that I was running faster than I've ever run in my entire life. My feet were barely fucking touching the ground. I mean, I had so much momentum, you know what I mean, going down that fucking hill, that I was almost not in control of the run. And one more thing played into it, too. As I was running, I didn't dare look back, but I could hear Waylon right behind me. I could almost feel his hot, sticky, drunk breath on the back of my neck. He was that close. And he was gibbering like some kind of demon. He was making noises that I can only describe as ass rape noises. He was like, I'm gonna, you know, and he's right fucking behind me, and I can hear this. Now, there's another factor we have to consider here. At this time, I was 14, so this would have been this would have been 1994. And in 1994, amongst my peer group, you know, teenage males in 1994 in the area that I lived, the style of clothing was baggy. And everybody wore baggy jeans and kind of oversized T-shirts. And for fat guys, it was even doubly baggy. You know what I mean? We loved that. I mean, that was a great era to be a fat guy in, because fat people believe that baggy clothes effectively hide their thunder, you know, to quote Tobias Fuke. We think that. Of course, it's not true. We think that big clothes make us look less big, but they actually probably just, you know, accentuate how fucking fat we are. But everybody was wearing baggier clothes then, and I was, in on this. I had some baggy-ass clothes on. Problem with baggy-ass clothes on is that they don't fit. And so as I'm running, which is not something that I ever did in these pants are starting to slip down. And so I've had to, instead of pumping both arms like this, trying desperately to get away from the rapist behind me, I'm now grabbing the waistband of my pants with one arm, trying desperately to keep them up while I run, with Waylon gibbering right behind me and the just fear and adrenaline pumping through me. And finally I lose that battle, and the pants slip down. The pants, I let go accidentally or bumped my arm, and the pants slipped down around my ankles, and I go flying. My momentum was such that there was just no way I was going to stumble a little bit and kick the pants off. No. I went airborne. I was still only halfway or so down this fucking hill, and I just took flight. I just fucking immediately airborne, right? And I still to this day don't have any idea how Waylon did this. Now, I should say that Waylon was a much more athletic guy than I was. He was bigger, taller, stronger, in better shape. He was a football guy. I was not. So he did something that to this day I can't even understand. As I'm flying through the air, he leaps. And he was close enough to leap into the air like some sort of demon frog or something. He just and fucking leaps and grabs me around the waist in midair. We're both airborne now. And he grabs me in a position that I can only describe as doggy style. And when I say that, I don't mean the human position of doggy style. I mean like how dogs fuck other dogs, doggy style. His arms slip around my waist, and his hands lock. He locks his hand around his wrist, and he pulls me into himself. And I shit you not, begins dry humping my ass in midair. By the time we hit the ground, he was already, in fucking midair. And I hit the ground eventually. And I think if I had just fallen by myself, it would have been sufficient to knock the wind out of me. My weight alone hitting the ground chest first like that would have been sufficient to knock the wind out of me. But with Waylon on top of me, when both of us hit the ground, I almost lost consciousness. Because I hit the ground and then he's on top of me, so it's just, I almost lost consciousness. I mean, I hit the ground so fucking hard. Now, mind you, the reason I fell was because my pants fucking fell down around my ankles. I still had my underwear on. Waylon is dry humping me through my underwear, through his jeans and through my underwear. And while I hit the ground, the air gets knocked out of me. And anybody that's ever had their wind knocked out of them knows it's one of the most terrifying things in the world. You hit the ground, your first instinct is to take a giant gasping breath. And you go, and there's nothing there. You can't breathe. Waylon didn't skip a beat. He hit the ground, bounced off of me like I was some sort of fucking flotation device or fucking fall-breaking device, and instantly just pulls me up to where my ass is in the air and starts fucking dry humping my ass. He says, fucking told you. And I can't scream. I can't breathe. I don't even know where the fuck I am. All I know is that somebody's trying to fuck me in the ass, and I'm gonna die like this. This is like, I'm gonna die with some guy trying to fuck me up the ass. And finally, I get enough breath. You know what I mean? I croak enough breath into my lungs to let out a rudimentary scream. Something primal from deep inside of me. Something that human beings don't use all that often anymore in modern life. Just a... And luckily for me, my other friends at this point... Oh, my God. My other friends at this point had run down the hill and managed to dislodge Waylon from me and hold him down and allow me to gain back my ability to breathe and think. But at that point, your dignity is gone. You know what I mean? Because once you're no longer concerned with breathing, once that's sussed out, you're laying on the grass with your ass in the air, having just had a guy pulled off of you. I don't know if that counts as a homosexual experience. There was, to my knowledge, no penetration. My underwear never came down, and I don't think that he had time enough to get his pants down and his dick out. But it feels distinctly sexual. There's something about it that feels distinctly, even though it was it wasn't something I asked for. It feels like so I don't know. I will leave it up to you guys to tell me whether or not I've had whether or not I've had a homosexual experience. Let me know in the comments.